Check this out. It's 2016 and an aspiring entrepreneur has decided to change the way men have been shaving their balls forever. Fast forward a few years later, and his company Manscaped goes from $3 to $300 million in revenue. Yes, you heard that right. $300 million. So buckle up and grab your popcorn. Because today we will be showing you how Manscaped became a billion-dollar company in just 4 short years. Well, it all began with a simple trimmer. Not just any trimmer, of course. This one claimed to be so good, your balls will thank you. It all makes sense, right? Right? Well, somewhat. Manscaped is one of the fastest growing direct-to-consumer businesses ever. So what is it that sets them apart? Let's find out. The real magic lies in how Manscaped sold more than just a trimmer for your balls. It sold an experience. So let's backtrack to where it all began. Paul Tran is the CEO and the wizard behind this success story. Now, if you're expecting someone with perfect hair and amazing skin, you will probably be surprised. Paul is a business nerd. He was born in Vietnam and moved to New York at a very young age with his family. As a young kid in school, he always had an entrepreneurial interest and remembers his first business to be a raffle he hosted every Friday in school. After high school, he ended up studying business and engineering from the University of Southern California. And then, unlike most business students, he actually started a business. Well, many businesses, which included building software products and, quite surprisingly, a skincare brand for women. However, he was only getting ramped up for his magnum opus. Paul had the idea for Manscaped through personal experiences and through talking to friends. He noticed a lack of options and the stigma attached to sensitive grooming areas for men. Men have been using all kinds of things to groom themselves, whereas women have a long list of products to choose from. So as a real man, he couldn't just let the women have it. And very quickly, Paul recognized that he had stumbled across a goldmine of opportunities. Men didn't just need a dedicated tool to trim their balls. They needed an open and positive dialogue around male grooming in general. Here's Paul talking about how he zeroed in on the idea of Manscaped in the early days.
So, I mean, if you think about it, so the way I like to explain it is that when you look at the female body, you realize you start from head to toe. If you're analyzing, right? You realize that there's a product and a brand for every single female care and need you can think of. When you go to the male body, you switch your attention to the male body. You start with your head. You got your Gillette, your Dollar Shave Club, your Harry's, right? You go down to the torso. You got Native, you got Old Spice. When you get down to the groin, there's nobody playing in the groin, right? That is total empty white space.
Can you believe it? Before Manscaped, guys were using random tools, resulting in cuts and nicks. Honestly, I know that pain all too well. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? I'm surprised no one came up with this sooner. Trust me, I'm also kicking myself for not coming up with this idea. Paul had found a gap in the market and he was ready to fill it. But it wasn't easy. Like any business, Paul and Manscaped had their fair share of hurdles. Early on, Manscaped took the approach anyone would have. Their marketing focused on the practical benefits of the product and how it was good for your hygiene, etc., etc., etc. Honestly, sounds reasonable, but it flopped hard. They spent over $250,000 before realizing they were doing this all wrong. From his days of working on a skincare brand targeting women, Paul was accustomed to marketing to a female audience. Women typically want to know the benefits and the practicality of a product before they make a decision to purchase it. The point is, men and women are different. The way men take recommendations and react to ads is completely different. Turns out, guys don't really vibe with the "this is good for you" approach. Who knew? Then, at a time when things were looking grim, they had an epiphany. Men communicate differently, especially when it comes to, well, matters below the belt. They like humor and they crave a sense of empowerment, which was certainly lacking in this category. And just like that, the switch flipped. Instead of the corporate style videos that very blandly list you the benefits of a product, they adopted a humor driven strategy. Manscaped decided to ride the humor wave, showing that grooming could be empowering, fun, and dare I say it, sexy. And guess what? It worked. Big time. This departure from the typical boring marketing approach brought a fresh breath of air, and Manscaped became the talk of the town. Within a few years, they were doing hundreds of millions of dollars in business. Now let's take a deeper look into their marketing playbook. It truly stands out when it comes to brands within the last few years. Manscaped's core demographic is obviously made up of men, but surprisingly, 37% of all the traffic on their website comes from women. But most of these women are looking to buy a gift for someone else, which means their marketing is also reaching a female audience. Take a look at this commercial, for example.
You want to know what we really want this Valentine's Day? Come closer and I'll tell you. We want you to trim your balls with the Lawnmower 4.0 by Manscaped.
It's the perfect Valentine's Day gift. It's almost genius that Manscaped has been able to capitalize on a female audience looking for gift ideas for their male friends, boyfriends, fathers, brothers, etc. The Manscaped brand revolves around 4 core traits: fun, authenticity, inclusivity, and adventure. And these brand values shine through in the amazing content they've been making for years. Manscaped has advertised heavily on different platforms and built a very strong social media following. They have over 500k followers on TikTok, 600k on Instagram, and over 170k on Facebook. This has allowed them to reach men from different walks of life and age groups. Honestly, Manscaped is the only brand I can think of when I'm thinking men's grooming. But if you're maybe 25 or older, you might say, hold up, this isn't something I've never seen before, and you're onto something. The way Manscaped has approached their marketing and created their brand is not entirely new. Who remembers these commercials? Manscaped's marketing blueprint definitely takes some inspiration from legendary brands like Old Spice and Axe. But Manscaped definitely took this to the next level. These brands have been around for decades, but Manscaped went from $3 to $300 million in revenue in just 3 short years. They didn't just stop at commercials. They focused on building a brand that was almost synonymous with male grooming. Early on in their journey, Manscaped was able to strike a balance between performance marketing and brand marketing. While obviously relying on their marketing efforts to make sales, they also focused on building brand awareness through partnerships. Manscaped has a heavy focus on partnering with the right personalities and organizations that can truly embody the brand. And they have a knack for hitting these out of the park. In 2019, they struck gold with a partnership with the UFC. To this day, the UFC is the biggest sponsorship deal Manscaped has. Dubbed as their official below-the-waist grooming partner, over the last few years, Manscaped has tremendously benefited from the increasing popularity of the UFC. As a fan of the sport for 8 years, I have personally seen a major shift in its popularity over the last 4 to 5 years. And this has undoubtedly brought many more eyeballs to Manscaped and its products. Also, think about it. What other brand could represent Manscaped better than the UFC? It embodies the masculinity and the male empowerment that's at the core of Manscaped's brand. This partnership goes way beyond just slapping the name Manscaped on the octagon. It includes creating custom content along with partnerships with talents within the UFC. Over the years, fighters like Derek Lewis, Stipe Miocic, and Max Holloway have all worked with Manscaped to create commercials. This is a match made in heaven, as it gives Manscaped access to the UFC's young male audience. They have also entered a strategic partnership with the San Francisco 49ers, another brand that aligns perfectly with Manscaped. But throughout all of the marketing and branding efforts, the humor and light-hearted messaging remains a constant and shines through. If you're a comedy fan like me and listen to podcasts like Flagrant or This Past Weekend, you probably often see Manscaped as a sponsor. This allows them to tap into loyal fan bases that are much more receptive to a recommendation from their favorite creator. You can also see them continuously collaborating with different creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Although influencer marketing isn't a new strategy, Manscaped has done a great job of picking the right partners and staying relevant in popular culture. In 2022, Manscaped signed a 4-year deal with comedian Pete Davidson to serve as their brand ambassador. And if you know anything about Pete's dating history, you know he's a legend. His comedy career is almost as successful as his endeavors on the dating scene. A personality like him fits perfectly with Manscaped's brand, and they're already making amazing content with him. Another home run for Manscaped's marketing team. The world of consumer products is no stranger to gender-targeted marketing and the price disparities that follow. This gender-specific marketing has resulted in the fact that women have been paying more for gender-specific products for years. And often, these products are not even that different. The only thing different is the marketing around it. This is known as the pink tax, which isn't really a tax, but basically a premium that customers pay. It's been documented that women's products often cost significantly more than their male or unisex counterparts. Now we're seeing the emergence of the gunmetal gray tax in the male grooming industry. Brands like Manscaped are marketing products specifically to men and are charging a higher price, even when cheaper generic products might serve the same purpose. Manscaped has truly killed it with their marketing, but don't get it twisted. It's not just how they have marketed themselves. They have continuously made effort to innovate and make better products. Their first product was the lawnmower, which is their groin trimmer, and they are currently on the 5th iteration of the product at the time of this recording. But they didn't just stop there. Now they have a whole suite of products for men. These products include the groin trimmer, an ear and nose hair trimmer, body wash, ball spray toner, ball wipes, lip balm, anti-chafing ball deodorant, and much more. Beyond the great marketing, Manscaped has shown a commitment to providing the best-in-class products for men. But are these products really that much better than everyone else? Who even are their competitors? Having used it myself and reading a bunch of reviews online, what I can tell you is they do offer some features that are specifically made to make it easier to shave your balls. And I appreciate it. However, I do think there are many other products on the market that can offer a similar experience. But Manscaped has such a stronghold on the market, I found myself scratching my head when thinking of who their competitors are. This is what the total domination of a category looks like. They have left their competitors in the dust. But look, this does not mean that Manscaped is making a subpar product. Their flagship product, the lawnmower, is waterproof and amazingly built. And it's specifically designed to work on loose skin. So, as a user myself, I can confidently say that they are offering a solid solution. But I would have to say that their marketing strategy is the biggest reason behind their success. What Paul Tran and Manscaped have achieved in a short 6 years is nothing short of remarkable. Their meteoric rise and the domination and quite honestly the creation of this men's grooming category is a fascinating example of how big a seemingly simple idea can be. The way they have been able to connect with their audience and use humor and viral marketing to build a billion-dollar brand is truly a masterclass in branding. While their commercials may mostly seem like a comedy skit, behind it all there is a sophisticated and talented team of marketers that have a deep understanding of who their core consumers are and what they want. Manscaped's exponential growth is not caused by luck or chance. It's the result of a truly tactical and surgical operation that has combined strategic partnerships and amazing content to build one of the fastest growing direct-to-consumer brands of all time.